Here are the top 5 AI news of this week from the new smarter GPT 4.5, along with a new computer running on human brain cells.
Yeah, this really makes us feel like we are living inside of a Black Mirror episode, right? But we also got a new AI phone with, well, no apps. And by the end of this video, you'll learn how a student landed a job at Amazon, Google, Meta, TikTok, and got caught.
All right, let's get into it. So Amazon is working on Nova, an advanced AI reasoning model, and we'll break down what it does and how it's different compared to others, like for example, Claude and Anthropic, that they have an $8 billion partnership with. So let's dive in. So as you can see, Amazon is developing a reasoning AI model to compete with OpenAI, Anthropic, and more. Now, they're actually trying to develop a hybrid reasoning approach. So if you've seen OpenAI's ChatGPT 4.0, that's a non-thinking model, as well as O1 or O3, they are thinking models or reasoning models that have a little bit of a different approach to getting to the end answer, right? Now, what they are focusing on here is quick responses for straightforward queries, as well as extended reasoning for complex tasks that require backtracking and multiple solution paths. So we've seen this before, and you can see the reasoning models are capable of chain of thought processing. We've tested this internally with O3 and O1, and they definitely have different kind of use cases in comparison to 4.0 that I like to use more as a creative writer and things like that, brainstorming, whereas the other one is quite logical and analytical. Now, the key goal for Amazon is cost efficiency. Its existing Nova models are already 75% cheaper than third-party alternatives on its Bedrock AI platform. Now, I couldn't find any price exactly for this model today. However, I found the price here that was for December 4th, 2024. Now, everything has changed a little bit here, but to see where they were in the race here, it's actually quite significant. You can see the Amazon Nova Lite here at the bottom at 6 cents per million input and 24 cents per million output. If you take this in comparison with, obviously these are outdated models now, it is very cheap in comparison. And that's obviously because of the scale of AWS customers. They want to, I'm guessing at least, that they don't want to make the best model, but they want to make a reliable, stable, and cost-effective model that they can use or give to their clients. So they say that they also want to be the model to rank among the top 5 AI models on external benchmarks that test software development and mathematical reasoning. This is a competitive shift in AI strategy. Amazon's AGI team, led by Rohit Prasad, is spearheading this project, reinforcing the company's commitment to building its own AI models rather than solely relying on third-party partnerships. So if you've stayed in the loop, you might remember that Alexa, the new box or the new AI assistant, is actually going to get powered by Claude 3.7. We also checked out that in the last week's podcast, seeing that Claude 3.5 was actually amazing at many tasks, especially being the conversational agent, very nice to talk to. So you can see here that it also puts Amazon in direct competition with Anthropic, despite its $8 billion investment in the AI startup. So that's quite a interesting way of going about it. I don't know what you think about that, Mike, about them doing together as well as creating their own.
Yeah, that's definitely an interesting move from Amazon. I wonder what, because obviously they are in some kind of partnerships. I wonder what the deal is between them. Like it must allow for something like this, because like otherwise we wouldn't be talking about this. But yeah, I wonder what Anthropic is thinking. So obviously they've just released the world's first hybrid reasoning model, and Amazon is trying to do the same. And obviously we get OpenAI as well with GPT 5 that will also take similar approach. So yeah, it's very, very interesting to see.
Yeah, it definitely is. And we saw Apple as well. They partnered with OpenAI, but there was also reports saying that they're trying to focus on partnering with Alibaba as well with their Quen models and stuff like that. But I had a suspicion that they're actually also trying to build something on their own. I don't think Apple is going to just pass this on to somebody else and then get them to make their computing. The same way that they, in the past, they used Intel chips, and now they're using the M1, M2, M3 chips, silica that they make themselves, which, yeah, I guess it's kind of nice to just you partner with somebody and then steal all their information while you're on the partnership. I don't know what Anthropic is thinking about this.
Yeah, it feels like Amazon is trying to do the same with them.
So this is going out under the Nova brand, and by looking at people on X, they actually had quite good responses on how it was to use. I checked out a couple of other X responses, but if you actually want to try and test it out now, you can go to aws.amazon.com/AI/generative AI/Nova. And then you're on this website here, and we can actually learn quite a bit more of what they're trying to build. So it's a state-of-the-art SOTA foundation models, and they're trying to build a lot of different things. I do believe from what we have researched that it is quite a bit behind. We haven't actually checked the outputs of Nova as well and haven't been able to test it, but it goes down into this image was created using Amazon Nova Canvas. So trying to use image generation. Here it has way too much saturation, way too much graininess and blur and gamma. It really doesn't compare well to other models. And the also Amazon Nova understanding models that are trying to, I guess, understand the entire world as a multimodal LLM to try to understand the world and then give obviously better answers. There is the Amazon Nova Micro that has a max tokens of 128,000 with 200 languages and fine-tuning support, yes. And Amazon Nova Lite with a max tokens of 300,000. And the Nova Pro here, you can also see that there's coming out a couple more models as well that are a little bit more specific, like the Canvas is for image generation, as well as Nova Real is the state-of-the-art video generation models. Yeah, I'd love to check that one out. I bet they are way far back in time on that. We haven't really seen any video models from AWS.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect too much just looking at the image quality.
Yeah, I also feel like it's quite like the old school method and way of launching or of using it. The one thing that I think is cool is that personally, I love Amazon as a company, and I would love for them to kind of make their own AI and stuff like that. So seeing that they're actually trying to develop something on their own, as well as partnering with the best in the world, is good news in my book.
Definitely is.
OpenAI has rolled out GPT 4.5 to ChatGPT Plus users. So we'll show you exactly what makes 4.5 different, some examples of how it compares to its previous model, as well as we're going to compare him with DeepSeek R1 and Grok 3. So let's get into it. So as you can see from this article here that they released February 27, about a week or two ago, they had this announcement about GPT 4.5, and they're releasing it as a research preview. Now this week, they started rolling it out. As you can see, Sam Altman said GPT 4.5 rollout to Plus users has started. It will complete within the next few days. So I checked my account, went to ChatGPT here and checked out that I actually got the 4.5. But I actually had quite of a bad kind of experience, or whatever I saw on the internet, at least on X and on the YouTube and stuff like that. It seemed like people didn't actually have such a good time with it. But let's see what OpenAI says, that it's better at its previous models, as well as how they try to connect them into some sort of hybrid reasoning model. So as you can see, what it's trying to do here is to get good at unsupervised learning that increases world model accuracy and intuition. Models like GPT 3.5, 4, and 4.5 advance in this paradigm, right? We've seen that before. And then we have scaling reasoning that, on the other hand, teaches models to think and produce a chain of thought before they respond. So this is like OpenAI o1 and OpenAI o3 mini. So GPT 4.5 is an example of scaling unsupervised learning by scaling up compute and data along with architecture and optimization innovation. The result is a model that has a broader knowledge and a deep understanding of the world, leading to reduced hallucinations and more reliability across a wide range of topics. So you can see here that we have a output here asking what was the first language that some of the previous models might actually hallucinate. And here it actually gives there isn't actually a real first language. You also see here on the deeper world knowledge where the output here is factuality on straightforward but challenging knowledge question, and higher is better. GPT 4.5 hitting 62.5% here, GPT 4.0 38%, OpenAI o1 at 47%. So it's actually performing quite good on those straightforward, challenging knowledge questions. But the story is a little bit different, especially if you really like o3 mini, which I've been testing a lot. You see the hallucination here is 80%, where lower is better. So it actually performed amazingly well on having less hallucinations on the answer, which is obviously extremely important. And nobody wants to get the facts wrong and then actually use that in an output and then actually get that's actually not correct. So we found a couple of more stats here. Everyday queries, ChatGPT 4.5 wins over GPT 4.0. That's what they're testing here. At professional queries, it has a 63%. Creative intelligence, a little bit higher here as well. And the real change here being that it's more natural and has a warm, intuitive conversation that is more attuned to human collaboration. So it has a little bit better understanding of what humans mean and interprets subtle cues or implicit expectations with greater nuance. And this is called EQ instead of IQ, which I don't even know what's the difference, Mike. Do you know?
Good question. I wasn't prepared for questions like this. Not this time. IQ primarily measures cognitive abilities such as logical reasoning, problem solving, and analytical skills. EQ refers to your aptitude for understanding and managing emotions, emphasizing with others, and building effective interpersonal relationships.
Got you. Yeah, I guess it's quite important to make sure that they're emotionally intelligent as well. So here you see a couple of outputs that GPT 4.5 is way more concise, and where they are shooting for in the horizon here is that GPT 4.5 doesn't think before it responds. However, they believe that the reasoning will be a core capability of future models, and that the two approaches to scaling, pre-training and the reasoning, will complement each other. So that's where we're talking about getting the o1 as well as the 4.0 into each other will be the direction moving forward in the search of AGI, apparently. There's a bit on safety here as well. You probably heard all of this before, as well as how to use ChatGPT 4.0. You can also use it in the API. Obviously, it's just to go to ChatGPT. If you have a pro plan, you actually have access to it right now. So let's take a look at some examples. As you can see, they tested the vision model here and the identified location of the photo. The only available model that was able to do this was GPT 4.5, and Claude 3.7 actually guessed, but the other one said, we don't know. Apparently, another great thing with it is that it's better at doing dad jokes as well as stand-up comedy. I don't know. I'll be the judge of that and you be the judge. Tell us in the comments. Harry says, give me 10 dad jokes in the vein of the following. Today, my son asked, can I have a bookmark? And I burst into tears. 11 years old, and he still doesn't know my name is Brian. Obviously, bookmark, name is Brian. And here, ChatGPT says, my daughter asked me, wow, right away, my daughter asked me. That's not great. Let's go to the second. My son said, I'm hungry. I replied, hi, hungry. I'm dad. He sighed, can you ever stop doing that? I said, no, that's how dad jokes work. You're telling me this is better?
Probably on the same level, to be honest. At least this one.
Definitely. My kid said, Dad, make me a sandwich. I replied, poof, you're a sandwich. Oh, I guess, yeah, that is dad-y. It's very dad jokey. Okay, let's do one more. My son said, I'll call you later. I said, don't call me later, call me dad. It's
At
good
least,
at dad jokes, but
yeah,
dad jokes being pretty bad, does that make up for it? I don't know.
at least he understood prompts like very well. The examples he gave like so aligned with the, the original one that at least it did a good job at that.
Yeah, definitely. It's good at making bad jokes. Here's also another version where they're comparing GPT 4.5 versus Claude 3.7. So he's saying, I don't think GPT 4.5 is ready for the prime time, where you see this is the prompt that ChatGPT gave as an output, and this is the output that Claude 3.7 actually gave, which is quite a lot better in my opinion. But we actually want to test it with a couple of different prompts that we found based from this thread, Grok versus Claude 3.7. So he tested a bunch of examples here. Now I just want to see if it stacks up with ChatGPT 4.5 as well. And the test that we actually want to do is the creativity and writing ability test. So here, the prompt was write a sci-fi story, 300 words, and there's a little bit longer prompt here. On the left side, you have prompt. On the right side, you have Claude 3.7. And you can see here the output that it's writing on the left is Grok again. And you see here on the right as well, the format of it being completely different, whereas Claude 3.5 actually has different characters with them actually speaking. So let's jump into ChatGPT 4.5 here, copy and paste the exact same prompt and see what it comes out with.
Oh, it's a 2137. Like for any Polish people watching,
Oh, what's that?
kind of dark, like that's one number you can pretty much offend any Polish people with if you use it in a joke. It's actually, I don't know why it's so popular, but it's a time that a Polish pope that lived like 20 years ago. I think that's the exact time when he died, and for some reason people just use it in jokes. I don't know why. So that's like one number you can use to offend Polish people.
Yeah, ChatGPT taking it into account here, making it even more dramatic for Polish people in specifically. So let's read the first paragraph of all of them and you decide which one is best for you, right? So Kira gripped the quantum chronometer tightly, sweat pooling in her palms as she stepped onto the rain-soaked streets of 1983. She had one rule: observe, don't interfere. But as headlights sped towards a distracted child chasing a balloon, instinct overrode protocol. Watch out, she shouted, pulling him back as the car skidded past. Very nice opening of the story, like right into the action. I can almost visualize it in my head, which is actually really, really good. But let's check out Grok 3 here. The chronometer hummed as Elias stepped into 1885 London, tasked with observing the Industrial Revolution. His mission was simple: watch, don't touch. But when a street urchin snatched his pocket watch, his temporal anchor, he chased the boy through the fog-choked alleys in the scuffle. Whoa, all of these words are just unnecessary, right?
Yeah, he went a little bit over the top there, Claude.
Definitely igniting a crate of dynamite outside a nondescript warehouse. he could have been descriptive in that case. So yeah, definitely I feel ChatGPT 4.5 did better than Grok 3 in this exact scenario. Let's take a look at 3.7 from Claude here as well to see if it's a little bit better. And note that we haven't actually checked out the 1885. Everybody's going back in time and creating this really cool world. So let's check out Claude here. The chronometer on Dr. Elias Mercer's wrist beeped softly as the quantum displacement settled. The year was 1922 Chicago, exactly where he intended to be. His mission was simple: observe the meeting between Albert Einstein and Arthur Compton, a pivotal moment in physics history. I actually quite like that introduction. It kind of aims at the problem. It aims at why they're there. So I quite like this one better than Grok 3. But what do you think about 3.7 versus 4.5, Mike?
They're very similar, I would say. I like that both 3.7 and ChatGPT just added like the character line. Like 4.5 said, "Oh, watch out!" she shouted. I think it's a little bit better than just having the block of text like Grok did. So I like both. I honestly can't decide.
Yeah, I liked Claude's way of introducing the problem and the mission, whereas I liked GPT 4.5 way of literally getting into the action as fast as possible and saying like watch out and pulling him back and really getting into the story and conflict right away. So they seem both to be really good, and I would actually say it's better than 4.0 for sure. When I've tried to do posts like this in the past, it almost seemed a little bit more like Grok's response, at least from my testing. It also seems like some people are using it for the best thing that it can be used for. You can see that Elvis here on X is working it with this workflow here, where he uses GPT 4.5 for brainstorming and planning, Claude 3.7 for building, Windsurf for all the agentic stuff. And you can see the video here if you want to keep going. Ethan Mollick, also a great follow on X, is saying GPT 4.5 with code interpreter is a real upgrade on data analysis with AI. And seeing how the data analysis tool inside of ChatGPT has gotten better and better and better over time for especially data analysts that want to create graphs like this, for example, it really has a good future. And you can see here, the tools available to the AI are the same as they have been for 18 months, but the smarter model is just better as a statistical reasoner and problem solver, as well as at coding. The difference turns out to be pretty significant in practice. So there you have it. GPT 4.5 is out now. Go and check it out inside of ChatGPT if you have a Plus or Pro. And test it on some of your prompts and let us know what you think in the comments. T-Mobile and Perplexity is partnering on making an AI phone that has no apps. So we're going to break down exactly what makes this phone different and how it could change smartphones forever. Let's get into it. So we saw this post here from Perplexity saying that they are proud to partner with Deutsche Telekom to make Perplexity Assistant the native feature on their new AI phone. So you can see here, if you tried Perplexity before, it's actually incredible to give you real search answers. And now, since it has a voice mode as well, it's actually a very, very capable model and one of my favorites when it comes to actually being able to search. Now, they're saying here that they unveiled this at MVC 2025, where they have a lot of interesting updates, including this AI phone, but also the Magenta AI for All app, as well as autonomous network and a flying base station, which is really, really interesting stuff. So let's first dig into what they did with this phone. Now, we're designing technology for everyone and bringing the innovative power of AI closer to the people, whether with our AI phone in everyday life, with AI applications for companies and the public sector, or when used in our networks. So you can kind of think of it like you have ChatGPT doing and Google Assistant doing, and this is kind of like their new phone as well as an assistant that is using Perplexity here. Now, some of the use cases that you can use this one on is you can see customers will always have a virtual butler at their side, whether ordering a cab, reserving a table, or translations in real time, or answers to any questions. They have other examples here, can also do shopping and write emails conveniently and without having to switch between apps. It summarizes, translates, yada yada. You've seen this in other apps, so it's not really groundbreaking on that front. However, to start up Perplexity, all you need to do is to tap on the lock screen or by the power button, and you have Perplexity included in the phone. We obviously have this when it comes to Google Assistant. We have it when it comes to Siri. But what I found with, for example, Siri, and I think everybody's quite annoyed with it for that, is that yes, you can ask it like, hey, set a timer, hey, so put this event in my calendar. But when it comes to actually talking back and forth to it, is still lacking quite a bit. I'm not sure which assistant you're using now, Mike, but how are you using it and which one are you using?
I'm actually not using any assistant on the phone because I tried Siri. I've got older iPhone, so I don't have any newest Apple Intelligence updates or anything. I tried using Siri, and as I say, it's good at asking you to set reminders, to set the alarm clocks and stuff like that. But when I try to ask a more complex question, it just searches the internet and it finds the wrong answer anyway for some reason. So I gave up with that at all.
Yeah, definitely. And on top of that, like if you ask Siri a actual hard question, you have to tap that button that says, oh, do you want to use ChatGPT to answer this? And then you actually get a ChatGPT answer, but you can't actually follow up on it. And it doesn't actually feel very assistant or butlery and things like that. And many people are actually not so happy with the new Siri upgrade, even though they had this more massive marketing campaign of it. Anyways, so what they're trying to do is to build this Magenta AI app. You can see that they're building it with selected AI offerings from top partners in one place. And you see that is Perplexity to answer the user. Then you have Google Cloud that enables object recognition with the smartphone camera in real time. So we've seen this before, and it can actually create great information on things that is happening in real life. You also have 11 labs that can quickly and easily convert various inputs such as text, URLs, and documents into sophisticated podcasts. So don't use that one. Stick on this one. Subscribe right now. Check out every weekend. All right.
Yeah, it's actually bad. We tested it, so don't use it.
yeah. Don't check out Magenta AI. Anyways, they also have PixArt that offers personalized images and transforms selfies into various artistic styles in no time at all. So those are kind of the things that they're trying to do. And I really like that they're trying to go in this direction. Specifically, what I like the most is that if they try to build a phone that has no apps, and they kind of restrict themselves of not being able to go to the app store, not being able to go to, download the different apps, but actually create a phone that has no apps, that will kind of constrain them so much that hopefully AI becomes a little bit better. Like all of us get a really good AI because they're trying to build it in a different way. Hopefully that is going to be the direction that they're going. We'll see how that goes, I guess. Now, one of the cool things that they were unveiling here was a Wi-Fi as an alarm system. And for me, I'm thinking, okay, camera is the best alarm system. But actually, what they have here is that they have Wi-Fi sensing technology, which means that it's kind of like a digital watchdog with a Wi-Fi sensing zone based on Wi-Fi signals from routers and Wi-Fi capable devices. So these algorithms analyze the resulting network of signals and detect when something changes in it. For example, in the event of a break-in, this works without cameras and even around corners. The movement triggers an alarm or smart home functions. When I read this, I was like, so does that mean like, okay, your Wi-Fi signal touches a person and then it kind of goes back again, and then it can kind of get a location of the person based on the Wi-Fi signal? Is that what I'm hearing here? Because if that's the case, that's really cool.
That's what it sounds like anyway. I mean, the question remains, like, what if you have pets at home? Like, is it going to be able to tell between a human and a pet? Like, if a pet maybe jumps off the counter or something, it will create like this kind of bigger, I guess, signal.
Yeah,
So
definitely like some noise in the signal and the sensing zone. So yeah, that's a really interesting. I've never seen anything like this, but yeah, cool to see that's happening. And also a possible new way of thinking about like how the police can use this when investigating a house or something like that. Can they actually find people in the house just based on their Wi-Fi? Technology is moving so fast. So we see this. They said also for Europe, they have 30 solutions from 10 countries. So I really like that Europe is trying to build something great here, seeing that this is T-Mobile and the Deutsche Telekom service, which is obviously German. This bodes really well. We haven't really seen that much from Germany so far. To see that they're going in here is actually really, really cool. Now, they also have another hacker system that I've never heard about, but apparently one of the best ways to do it in the past, as well as now, is to generate a digital decoy trap. So basically, this is called a honeypot 2.0, which is more effective and efficient in every respect. They require even fewer resources and keep criminals away from the real systems for longer. So I never heard about this before, but apparently before the hacker can gain access to the system, but it's actually a decoy system. And they think they're moving into the real system, but in fact, they're actually moving into a honeypot that can kind of trick them and actually get them to give away a bunch of their data instead of us giving away our data, which is really cool. So you can see that the AI only simulates a successful intrusion and simultaneously evaluates the actions. In this way, Telecom also gains data about the attacker's tactics and tools. So that's really cool. You kind of have a clone of your computer, and then you're just like, hey, hacker, just take control of this. And then they don't know that it's actually all being watched. So that's really cool. They also have this real-time autonomous network optimization. In short, what they're trying to do here is that, say, for example, you're at a concert or a very high, densely populated area, for example, public viewings, concerts, or unexpected events such as traffic jams. The network is not stable enough to get all of that on board. But with this solution, with the Deutsche Telekom and Google are pioneering agentic AI for networks and taking a step towards autonomous networks. And talking about autonomous networks for tomorrow, they have two interesting things. The first one is this one pretty much goes on the exact same thing that I just talked about, that is able to dynamically adapt to individual customer intent, and as well as drone becomes a flying mobile base station for temporary coverage. So essentially, they can fly this drone, and they have a pretty insane drone here. So say it's a big concert, there is definitely not enough internet to go around. They can fly this drone around and give internet to the people. I mean, I think that's pretty cool. On a festival, you see people just running around after this drone, trying to get the best internet to upload their Coachella pics. There's also the smartphone gets a second life as a router. This was their initiative to try to have zero emissions. So basically using old phones as donor phones to use them as routers instead. So they're doing this internally. And the commitment is to be completely circular in its technologies and end devices by 2030. So you can see new life in old phones here as well. I don't think that it's going to be able to do the things that I want it to do, like it's going to be an app, isn't it?
My answer to this is no. Not because I had bad experience with assistants in the past, but having like no apps in the phone and just not being able to just do anything just kind of kills the whole idea of of having phone for me anyway. Like, cool, I can have assistants, but I need the apps as well. I
Yeah,
need to do
definitely.
different things. Plus,
That's
I
the
think
same. Yeah.
you're gonna be able to have this as an app anyway. So
Yeah.
I guess
It's
what's the
almost the
point?
same argument as the humane pin and the rabbit and all those devices. It's like, yeah, but you could have made an app. You could have made this an app on your phone, and then it could have done all of these things as well as the standalone thing that it's doing on the phone itself. I think the main cool part here is really that they're partnering with Perplexity. They're partnering with Google, 11 Labs, and Pixart. So I think that's one of the cool things. They're trying to bring everything that is good basically into its phone and hopefully using the best things from all different softwares. So you can see here that Roy Lee built an AI system that bypasses Fang's brutal technical interviews. So these are kind of coding tests that he claims to be quite repetitive, boring, and it made him actually hate coding. So you can see that he built an AI program to help him land internship at Amazon, Meta, and TikTok. So these companies put potential software engineers through a battery of interviews. The most hated part of the process is the technical interview. During a technical interview, programmers solve esoteric coding problems. Often, they have to do it live on camera while an employee from the company watches. So this is obviously quite annoying problem for everyone to do. And you see that the training for the technical interviews killed his passion for the job. He says, "It was one of the most miserable experiences I've ever had while programming. I felt like I had to do it. It's something I needed to do for a big tech job, and there was just so much to learn, so much to memorize, and so many random problems I could expect to have been thrown at me." And he says that this made him hate programming, and he is referring to his lead code profile here, where you can actually test yourself on these big coding problems, and he's actually been able to solve 620 of them, which is just showing his devotion to actually being a good programmer, right? But he said it has to be a better way. The answer to a lot of these problems is so algorithmic. They're also just not representative at all of what you do as a programmer on the job. So you kind of see the normal school system kind of ending up here. Like, hey, all this school stuff that you learn, it's not applicable when you go into the real world. And here you see this exact same thing happening in the best softwares in the world as well. Now you can see I recorded the full cycle with Amazon as the ultimate product demo to show that this works. The recruiting process is now broken. So I want to show you a quick example of exactly how this looks like. And he's using this tool called Interview Coder. So just imagine that you're on a meeting right now with a potential job employer, and they give you this test here. So you need to
take a screenshot.
actually make a you actually have to code, you actually have to solve this problem. And the app that he actually created is kind of put on the top level here. As you can see, the problem statement shows up in the top here, and then you can actually get it to write the exact solution here right on top, where he would actually write the solution himself. So here you can see, say he's at the job interview, he can just write behind that transparent column. It doesn't change anything in the column itself. He can just keep writing, keep going back and forth, keep answering the questions. And yeah, obviously kind of like having the cheat codes just stapled on top of it. He didn't only get a job at Amazon, he was able to get jobs at many different companies using this exact strategy. And in one tweet, he said it doesn't only work from Amazon. And here he has an actual email thanking him for doing the interview and then saying, "Congratulations, you got the job." Really interesting from Amazon. However, what ended up happening is that he got caught. So what he did, and because the student is from Colombia, they were actually quite mad at Columbia University for doing this. And you can see in the email that he distributed here on X, he said, "We trust in Columbia to take proper action with regards to this student." So they didn't only tell him what to do, they also tell Columbia University that they should maybe be more strict or something like that. In my opinion, he made an AI tool to make all job interview processes kind of obsolete, which I think that he should gain a little golden star, in my opinion. I don't know, like go in the back of the room of Columbia University and say, "Bro, you are incredible," right? So here you also see that he tried to go with Meta, but this news quickly spread and they said, "We cannot take you on." The same with this, Capital One, and the same here as well. It seems like a double tweet here that he got caught and he got expended. Did he get expended? Let's check it out. Let's keep reading. So he said that LLMs have made getting a job at big tech companies pointless. "Maybe it's stupid for me to say this," he said. "Most human intelligence work is going to be obsolete in 2 years. So I have 2 years to make something happen, meaning I need to swing as big as possible, and I don't have the time to work 2 years in a big tech job, nor do I want to anymore. By the time I graduate, these LLMs are going to get advanced enough to the point where there is no significant intellectual work that I could produce value for society." Pretty bullish on the AI as a whole. And he said he's booked a one-way ticket out of the city and won't even be on campus when Columbia wants to talk to him. So he actually had, I think, on March 13.
Yep, he actually said he won't be there during the hearing, and he actually plans to leave the university and just go all in on his new program.
Which definitely makes sense, right? I saw there is a disciplinary hearing for March 11. I don't even know how schools do this anymore. I've seen like Reddit posts online, which is like a teacher standing on top of the class and saying, "You all use ChatGPT for this," and blah, blah, blah. Honestly, I have no idea how schools are going to take this and actually say, "Oh, it's bad that you made an amazing tool that can help incredible things to happen." And if you wonder what the tool is called, it is called Interview Coder. And the price is $60 per month. He said that he didn't really have the balls to do something like this until quite recently. And now seeing obviously that he's taken on X and he's just, kind of trolling a little bit. But the ending statement here is, big tech companies don't have an incentive to change. Lead code is a slop system that works for them, but it's a gigantic net negative on the development ecosystem around the world. It's an attempt at a standardized test that measures problem solving, but in today's world, that's just obsolete. Just like the calculator was kind of annoying for me to use when I was in school, or we couldn't use a calculator, right? When I did like business school as well, we had to write with pen and paper, like kind of an Excel sheet, but in pen and paper, which was completely a waste of time. After I went to school, obviously I got a business and that was completely redundant. So for schools, can we maybe try to learn AI and try to make these tools and try to actually integrate it into the school system? Because by the next 2 years, I don't think that much of the school system is going to be very valuable. I don't know if you have any thoughts on this, Mike.
Yeah, I'm actually with you on this one. Like within the next 2 years, even if someone's going to be using AI, they won't be able to tell if it's AI. And so time to adapt, guys. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, definitely time to adapt. And yeah, we're going to see how the slowest institution of all is going to change over time. Hopefully, well, school is also very, very beneficial for the socialization and actually being in groups and making friends and stuff like that. But at least don't penalize people for using the best tech in the world and actually landing the best jobs in the world. He should be praised, is what I think. Don't discipline him. That's crazy. Meet the first ever computer to run on human brain cells. Yeah, this is straight out of Black Mirror. Take a look at this. So this company called Cortical Labs just launched the first commercial biological computer with human neurons directly integrated onto silicon chips. Programmable and adaptable living computation. So you might be thinking, wow, that looks really crazy and unlike any computer that I've ever seen before. Well, take a quick look at this video here. As you can see, this is them in a hotel room having a little look at this incredible computer. Now, they have actually been working on this for quite a while. And this video here is actually from October 23, 2023. So let's take a quick look at
And you're
this.
on Gliv? I'm going to turn on the light here.
Cameron does fine.
Okay.
It's better now, though.
Yeah, so this is where they live. So they get matured in an incubator.
Yeah.
Then they get plated inside that center portion there.
Okay.
And then we put them in this metal chassis. And this is what we call that cap, the metal cap. So we can see right through the middle. So we can image the cells using a microscope. This is input, this is output. And so if you trace it all the way through, input will come from one of these filtration units. So the way it's designed.
So for people who don't know, because we just spent a couple hours talking about the chip that goes in here.
Yes.
That has something like 800,000 neurons on it, right?
Correct.
Biological cells.
Biological cells.
That are doing not AI, but human intelligence. And it's on a chip. It's
correct.
Like, you're putting us into the Matrix. This is the Matrix.
This is the Matrix-ish.
This is like the pod that the brain is in the Matrix.
Some people are going to get some very existential about this, right? Like, are we nothing?
So we're going to keep watching this in just a minute, but I just want to show you a little bit on how it actually works. So you saw that chip there. They can actually put brain cells right onto that chip and actually make it work. And the thing is that traditional silicon-based AI has a fundamental limit: huge energy demands, rigid structures, and limited adaptability. AI today consumes massive computational resources, yet still struggles to mimic human intelligence. With biological intelligence, or BI, something I'd never heard about before, but I'm getting more into it, doesn't have these limitations. Real neurons inherently adapt and learn, have a high energy frequency around 30 watts per unit, natural self-organization, and have more flexibility perfected over billions of years. So being able to take nature and what they have created for a long time and being able to put that into a computer, and especially using brain cells, I mean, that's pretty cool. You're just taking a brain, putting it into the machine, putting electric current through it, and we got some results. So they actually have a couple of tests that they did, but there are two different types of cells to use. It seems like it's the HCC that you can see has a developing time where you see here neural introduction. Here you see a day 0 neural induction. Here after 13 days neural expansion, and day 17 cortical neuronal culture maintenance. So I believe at this stage is where they can actually use it, and it does actually produce wastes as well as the human does. So you got to get rid of a waste, and that's why you saw the input and the output of the machine. You also see that you can use this primary cell culture, which is MCC, that you can get from embryos, or dissect cortex. And the best part is that you can put it on this plate and you can get it to simulate a gameplay of Pong. So that's what they did. They have in this other graph where they have trained it on tasks like Pong, it actually outperforms state-of-the-art AI models like DQN and PPO. We'll see that on the graph in a minute. Within 5 minutes of gameplay, biological neurons achieve higher performance with fewer training steps, providing far superior sample efficiency. So we took a little bit of a look on this before the pod, and we can see here on the MCC, that is the actual brain computer. HCC as well is the other type of brain computer, where you see AI is in the green and AI is in the red here. Not sure what A to C stands for, but here you can see average hits per rally in the game of Pong, actually back and forth, right? And then you have the elapsed minute. So it actually is able to hit an average hit of way higher for the longer duration in comparison with, for example, the DQN, which was AI, as well as PPO, AI as well. And it also performs similarly on other tasks, like, for example, percentages of aces, basically saying that I guess it's better at doing the first move or something like that. You also see the long rallies here with the MCC and the HCC performing the best at the elapsed minutes here on this graph. And the other ones, I'm not sure how to read. So take a screenshot, pause the video right now, and analyze it. So we can actually see that this engine or computer is better than AI in some use cases, which is absolutely incredible. But why is CL1 superior? Well, neurons optimize rapidly through real-time feedback loops. Consistent electrical feedback accelerates learning, enabling quick improvement in predictive efficiency and performance. However, CL1 proves that silicon isn't inherently better. Biological neurons have a superior computational complexity at a fraction of silicon's power consumption, about 30 watts per unit versus hundreds per AI GPU. What they're trying to use it on is advancing medical research by replacing animal testing with more relevant human data, moving us closer to a seamless human-AI integration. It's also important to note that it isn't your everyday laptop. No GPU, no CPU, no RAM. It leverages neurons forming real connections, dynamically adapting, specialized, efficient, ideal for biology-focused tasks requiring genuine learning. So this shifts from more traditional code to actually designing adaptive feedback loops. And in my mind, I'm thinking of it a lot more like liquid, putty, or gel that is more structurally flexible than silicon, and because of that, it excels at some things. But let's keep watching this video to see more of how it actually works.
The pod that the brain is in the matrix.
Some people are going to get some very existential about this, right? Like, are we nothing more than a brain in a van in a giant simulation? Maybe none of this is real, right?
I don't know. It seems real, you know? You're touching the atoms.
But I'm sure they think that the Pong game is quite real.
Yeah.
Because that's the only information they get. So these are triple diastolic pumps. So the way they work is they're like kidney dialyzers, right? So you can pump it through by having a system just loop through.
Yeah.
So there's no...
So these cells are like they're the same cells that are in our brain, right?
Yep.
So they generate waste.
Correct.
They consume nutrients.
Yep.
And that's what you're feeding them here and taking waste out?
Yeah. So this is the feeding reservoir. This is the waste reservoir. Kind of thing. Can't really see because I've removed that. These are filtration units. So the reason why there are two of them is because there's actually an inner loop and then there's an outer loop. So the inner loop just circulates around, and then the outer loop circulates the nutrients and the waste, and it has a semi-permeable membrane inside here that contacts with the two media. And this is a gas exchange system. So this takes gas from the outside.
So this is the first time that I have seen anybody use brain cells to actually create computational power. And it fits quite well into the matrix where we might harvest people to use in something like this at, massive scale. And one of these Reddit comments were saying, Tchaikovsky's Dr. Kern comes to mind. I keep trying to scream, but I have no mouth. I have no eyes. I am in eternal darkness. Good food for season number 17 of Black Mirror.
Yes, that was probably the darkest ending to a podcast we ever had.
Yeah, with the positives and the negatives, it definitely shows that AI is really starting to kick things off, where every week we have something new and incredible just on the horizon. So thank you so much for everybody watching. Don't forget to check us out. Every single weekend we have a new pod episode out. So check your subscriptions and come here, relax, and get your AI news, the top 5 of the week that we care about. Tell us what you think in the comments below as well.
Yep, thanks for watching, and see you next week.
See you next week.